Welcome to BAM, Badass Moms with Lori and Jenny. We are moms on a mission to share women's stories about life, fitness, aging, relationships, travel, and much more. Hello, friends, and thanks for listening. I just wanted to take a second to give you a quick reminder about subscribing to the show. If you have not already, just take a moment and do so. This will make sure that you never miss a daily bite or an upcoming episode. And in addition to that, if you have a few extra moments and like to drop us a review, we'd really appreciate it. And there's also a sponsor of the show located at the bottom of all of our episodes. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being badass. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of the BAM with Lori and Jenny. Today, we are so excited to have Meg Smit on the show. Meg, welcome. We are going to talk about her journey of being a mom, being an entrepreneur, being in the publishing and marketing industry, and also currently working for being her best version at Best Version Media. So we're going to talk about all the things with her today. We are so excited to have you on the show, Meg. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So let's start where it all started, way back when. What kind of led you to your current path of being where you are now as a mom and, in your career?
Yeah. So, like a lot of gals out there, I had this big job, career kind of identity. And then when I was having my first kiddo, I was like, well, can't work here anymore because I'll never see this baby. So I would like to see my baby. So it was interesting because I was a high-level operations leader and they had opened a VP level role in this organization and they wanted me to take it, but I had not formally applied because you had to go through the system because I was already pregnant. And I was like, I think I'm going to leave. So they were like, why haven't, my boss is like, we created this for you. Why haven't you put your name in it? And I was like, because I think I'm quitting. But there were two reasons. It was culture, because he wanted to know, why would you're like, the up and coming. And I was like, listen, there's two reasons. One is the culture at that VP level was super cutthroat. Which is not my MO at all. They would have eaten me alive. And I told him that. I was like, the culture that has developed here for whatever reason at that level and above, these VPs, there's like a dozen of them. There's 3 C-level positions and they are cutthroat. They are trying to win one of those positions should they open up. And they're really mean to each other. They were nice to me because I was a level below, but I was privy to all of their underhanded things. And so I told him, I was like, that's not me. That's not the culture I will survive in and thrive in. And they work more than I do. And I'm about to have a baby and I don't want to never see my child. I mean, I was working, 50, 60 hours a week and they were there more than I was. And I was like, oh, there's better ways to live this life. And I didn't mind when I wasn't a mom. Yeah. But, as soon as you're going to be a mom, you're like, I need balance.
It's crazy how much we hear that, how often we hear that, and how many women have made that shift or just realized I can't be a good mom and be working this amount of hours.
Yeah, it's no good for anybody. So anyway, I left that and I tried on a lot of different MLM and coaching and different types of roles. And I didn't really find anything that was perfect for me until I ran into Best Version Media. And they really promote work-life balance. And it's a great income opportunity, even if you're not working 50 or 60 hours a week. So, and it's very flexible. I can work from home. I can do what I need to do mostly during the school day. So I love it. And I'm very happy to have landed here. And originally I landed here because I was promoting a coaching business for nutrition coaching. And someone presented the advertising opportunity to me through Best Version Media, but our primary product are these fun, neighborhood magazines, and my neighborhood didn't have one yet. And I was like, well, why don't we have one? Yeah. So my friend Kim was like, well, you could start one, and here we are.
I love it. I love what you said too about culture. I think that is, especially understanding what it was like at that top level. And I'm proud of you for saying something.
Yeah. Oh, it was so obvious that I would be eaten alive. I don't have that, vindictive, cunning, it's just, I'm here to have fun and and I love Best Social Media because we promote good news only. So it's like,
I love it.
The perfect space for me, because I don't like watching the news. Like, I don't like anything negative. And so I just would have been, I don't know, I just would have been in paralysis.
Like soul crushing,
at
right?
That company at that level. Yeah. I would have been like,
so did you take a break, Meg, between, so that kind of opportunity that you kind of walked away from, like, did you take a nice solid break? Because you have 2 daughters.
I do. Yeah.
So you had one, I'm guessing, around that time. Did you just not do anything, or were you still kind of like, oh,
I did. So I ran into a different opportunity. I was a franchise owner for a few years with Fit for Mom. So that's the gals that are exercising at the park with the strollers. And I had seen that. I was living in Chicago before we moved here to the Denver area. And in Chicago, I had seen the Fit for Mom group many times at the park. And so it was in the back of my mind, like, oh, if I ever have children, this is a good way to find moms and get in shape and, just help your body through the healing process of everything. And so when I got here, there wasn't one in my area in Golden. And so I got with the organization and went to training to become a fitness instructor. And I'd already always gone to fitness classes. Like, I was never an instructor before, but they have a fabulous training program. And so I did that and then taught those classes, and a couple other gals who I still know taught with me. And, it's fun. So it was a really good way. And I was new to this area. So I really needed like a mom tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I immediately met all these moms, and my baby and I had this little posse.
That's the best.
Yeah. So I did that, and that was very part-time. I mean, it was just a couple hours a week, but it was really fun.
Nice. And so after that was kind of after you kind of ran how many years was that? Like you said, maybe 2 or 3 years you did that?
I did that about 4 years. By the time I had 2 kids, it was really hard. Yeah. So I got basically to the point where my second kiddo was about 2. And I was like, I mean, this is, and then the older one was in preschool. So we had that to contend with schedule wise.
Yeah.
So, and I also had developed a bigger interest in nutrition than
what
fitness.
Fueled that? Because you kind of told us a little bit about like what sparked that, but tell.
Yeah. Well, like many people out there, I have celiac, but never knew it. So for years, my entire childhood and everything, I'm consuming gluten at every meal and, didn't know. And I, was born in 78, so I'm 45. And so the news and the knowledge about gluten didn't come out till I was close to 30.
Yeah.
And I was like experiencing, partially because I was working so hard at that company before, transitioning out to have kids. And I was work hard, play hard, consuming gluten constantly. And I basically, my body my health bottomed out. And in the span of like a year or so, I gained, I guess it was like 2 years. I gained 30 pounds. Wow. Yeah. There's no pregnancy involved. This is just what was happening. My face was bright red. My hair was thinning. I was constantly sick with, viruses that would in my body turn into bronchitis. And I've had pneumonia multiple times. So like just all these things were happening, and I was tired all the time. And my now husband at the time was like, I think you have like a endocrine system issue. I'm like, what's an endocrine system?
Yeah. How did he even know that? Like, how did he get there?
His family is medical.
Okay.
And he is a pharmacist. So,
okay.
He had an addict, whatever. He knows more about my body than I do. So he was like, you need to go see an endocrinologist. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I found one. I went, and she was like, you have Hashimoto's, autoimmune, which is very common for people that have celiac. But I wasn't hypothyroid yet. She just started monitoring me, but it was clearly affecting my energy and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I went to, I was having a lot of pain and inflammation, especially in my right arm. And I thought, computering, mousing, like carpal tunnel, whatever. So I went to this hand surgeon, and he was like, they did the carpal tunnel test, which let me tell you, it hurts. It's terrible. They put like this microphone in your wrist, in the joint, and it like listens to the blood flow or something. I don't know. Anyway, that guy was like, well, you don't have carpal tunnel, but I can do the operation anyway. And I was like,
what the heck?
No, I'm going to go. I do not understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, sir. I'm leaving. So then I was like, who else can help me with pain? And I thought, oh, chiropractor, right? Like I've never been to a chiropractor. So I went to a chiropractor and he took one look at me and he was like, you have a gluten intolerance. And I was like, what's gluten? So then we went to this whole education. He's like, it's in wheat. A lot of people can't process it. And when they can't process it, they look exactly like you. And so then I got off gluten. And really that meant at that time going on a whole food paleo style diet because there were no gluten substitutes that didn't taste like sand. It's like there wasn't other bread. So I went on this whole food diet. I learned to cook things. and I did do some traction with this chiropractor because I had like a car accident in high school. So there was a bit of a nerve situation happening, but that all got fixed. But mostly the diet, and then immediately went back to normal. The weight fell off, my skin cleared up, my hair thickened again. I had good energy. It was crazy how fast. It was a matter of months. Like,
okay, I was gonna say, how long did it take for you to be like, because it's really freaking hard to give that stuff up. But if you feel, and I have a nightshade thing, but I haven't had nightshades, which people probably don't know what that is. It's like tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, eggplant. I haven't had it since I was 19, so a very long time. And people are like, that must be so hard. I'm like, no, because I felt so shitty eating them that I don't miss it at all.
Yeah. Well, and I'm mostly off most grains now. Like at that time I was still eating rice and things like that, but now I'm pretty much off of all of it. And so anyway, I just had such a miraculous recovery from gluten that I started to really get into nutrition too. Because I was like, everyone needs to know.
I have a question on that. So obviously you kind of had it, and this is my lack of knowledge on it. You had it your whole life. So why at a certain point did it get so bad? What was it? Was it you excessively eating those things that set it off? Or it seems like there was kind of this tipping point where it was like, maybe you were feeling great, but all of a sudden, like you said, the weight gain and everything. Was there kind of...
Yeah, I think it was a cumulative effect, honestly, and that I was working so hard because I was seated at a desk a lot. You know what I mean? Like I had all these lifestyle things too. And I would go out after work and have beer and pizza. You know what I mean? Like I was a dumb, like college kid diet person. And so, when I was a child, at home, we would have bread and wheat and all of the noodles and everything, but we would also have protein and vegetables, you know what I mean? And then when you're out of the house, you get lazier and lazier if you don't have kids and eating out a lot. I was in the city of Chicago, which is tons of good restaurants, and I was making good money. So I ate out a lot, so it was like definitely a lifestyle combination. Like I was consuming probably more gluten than ever before. And I wasn't taking care of myself. So I was immunocompromised, really, because I was work hard, play hard. So I wasn't exercising. I wasn't getting good rest. I wasn't, doing all the things that support your immune system. And celiac is, very immune system related because you're having a reaction to the gluten protein. So
did you ever read the book, The Autoimmune Solution, by chance?
I don't think I've read that one. I've read so much on it.
It's good. It's it's heavy. And honestly, it was hard for me to read because it's like, you feel like you have to give out so many things, but the way she describes it, and I really like this, is it's like, you're born with an empty bucket, right? And you start pouring stuff in the bucket, like toxins, environmental stuff, all this kind of stuff. And then eventually the bucket keeps filling and filling and filling until it overflows. And that's when you see the autoimmune stuff pop up. But it's actually, for the first time, because I've had so much autoimmune stuff, for the first time I was like, okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. It's a matter of a lot of things building up. It's cumulative, when you start having those reactions. But now I've got other things like celiac is difficult because it also limits your nutrient absorption. So, your gut doesn't absorb the other nutrients that you're eating if you're eating gluten. And you have celiac. So like now I have early onset osteoporosis, right? So I have to do a bunch of stuff for that.
Jenny can talk all about that.
Yeah.
And I think I told you, Meg, that my doctor, who was phenomenal, by the way, but he told me that he sees the top two things that he sees in younger women with osteoporosis, celiac and untreated, like hormone replacement, people that don't do hormone replacement and their estrogen dips and their bones just can't recover.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, fun stuff, right?
Yes, good time.
So what is your diet like right now? Like a glimpse into your day-to-day eating for those that, are like, what do you eat? I ask Jenny that a lot because she's got a lot of restrictions. I'm like, what do you eat? Like, I mean, because I feel very lucky. I've kind of been able and never had any allergies or anything. So I'm always, and I think people are very curious, like, how do you manage your diet to really be full and enriched with all the things you need when you have to kind of dance around certain things?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just paleo eating, I just don't have a lot of processed food. Every once in a while, I'll treat myself to the Akova restaurant. I don't know if you've been there, but it's in Denver. No. Oh my God, it's all gluten-free. So it's gluten-free chef prepared, he's celiac. So anyway, that's like my rare treat where I'll go get something, breaded or something like that. But other than that, it's just a very regular old whole food diet, meat and veggies. And I don't do a lot of grains, like I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. So, even rice or and I don't do a lot of substitutes of gluten products because those can have issues too, because they're almost more processed than the gluten product, right? So you end up almost tipping the scale the wrong way. And I'm very happy with, a whole food diet. It's fine. Like it makes me feel good. I'm fit and I don't have digestive discomfort, which I would with all that other stuff. So I'm very incentivized.
Yeah. Do the kids have it? Have they shown any sign?
One does, I think, and one does not. So I haven't gotten them officially tested, but the older one, she's 10 and she bloats and has discomfort when she has gluten, and she's very capable of avoiding it. She totally gets it. She's been raised, to understand it. So she'll go to parties and she won't eat the cupcake and, she gets it. The little one seems to not have any allergies. So she can consume half a pizza and her stomach is flat as a board. She's 8 and she weighs 50 pounds. Like she's just,
oh my gosh, she's tiny,
tiny little person. And eats a lot, but she has a very high metabolism, doesn't seem to have any issues. And so, we'll see how it shakes out. But so far it seems that one has it and one doesn't.
Luckily, it's so much easier now to have something like that than it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Like they know more, they know how to just avoid it. And you feel so much better.
Yeah. So. My older one, so the neighbors have a little 2-year-old has a wheat allergy. So it's not celiac. She's allergic to wheat. And my older one, we were at that little girl's older sister's birthday party and they had gummy candies, like the worms and stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently those have gluten. I didn't know that, but my oldest daughter did. Too. And she saw the little one with the wrapper and was like, no.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy the stuff that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, that does not need gluten in it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's a gummy candy. But my oldest one, she reads all the labels. She's very good at because she doesn't want to feel the discomfort either. Yeah. And she also gets a respiratory response, which makes it hard to breathe, right? Like she gets, swollen nasal passages and stuff, and she doesn't enjoy that. So she's really good at avoiding it. Which is great because she'll have, better outcomes than mommy did.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Isn't it interesting? I was actually having this conversation with someone the other day about allergies. If you think back to when we were younger, right? Even though, I'm in my 40s and Jenny's still in her, early 50s. Anyways, but how many kids did you know in your class that had peanut allergies, or how many kids did you know that you didn't? And maybe they had it, but it is interesting to think what's changed over the years with all the processed foods that have really caused people and children to start having more of these, allergies. It's very interesting, right? Either we just didn't know about them and we didn't care, but I do think there's something to be said about the way food is made these days.
Well, even how it's grown. I mean, the gluten today is not what it was when we were younger because it's just more the plant itself is a different plant because they've treated it genetically. It's, they're all modified and who knows how all that's going to play out, right? They talk about like there's a super gluten now, right? So it's like more, negative effects from that protein than there was in the natural original wheat plant.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting conversation.
We went to Germany in the fall, and I remember this from being in Europe before, but the food's different, right? So like when you go to the store, even the same product is made differently there because certain things aren't allowed there and they are allowed here, which is really disheartening. And actually this morning on the Today Show, I was watching, it was on in the background, and they were talking about sunscreen. I guess the sunscreen here is different, and it's not, people are saying it's not nearly as good. And there's actually a lot of concern around it suddenly. So I'm like, oh my God, why do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah. Always trying to cut corners and,
like put the cheap fillers in.
Yeah.
And we all, I think, also come from back in the day where like my mother never put sunscreen on me. Like I don't ever remember having sunscreen in our house. Like, I mean, we would just get burnt and like, that was that, right? But now it's like you try to lather up your children anytime they go anywhere outside, right? I think it's so different, and I look back and I'm like, did we not have sunscreen? Like, did you just?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We had it. I grew up in Florida.
I don't know.
So in Florida, we definitely wore it, and I would burn. My mom was she has like darker skin. Yeah. And my older brother had darker skin, so they seemed fine. And then along comes me with this fair skin, and she learned real quick what sunscreen was.
Yeah.
Because I was getting burnt.
My daughter, and to your point, Lori, we lathered our kids up, right? Like, and so then my kids became very good at putting sunscreen on. Like, it just wasn't a question. But then my daughter went to spring break in San Diego. She's 18. She went with a friend. They forgot their sunscreen and they fried the first day. And they were, like when you fry and you're like uncomfortable sleeping and you can't move, like they had that experience. Oh. And I'm like, I don't think in 18 years she's ever had that happen before.
Yeah, that's wild, right? Because that reminds me of childhood.
I mean, I remember when I was like 7,
Yeah.
You're like blisters. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You learn fast.
Oh.
So Meg, let's talk about your daughters. So the age gap is what, 2 years, you said? 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So one's in 4th. Well, they're finishing up 4th and 2nd.
Okay. Are they buddies? Like, do they have things in common? Like, how is their relationship?
They're really close. I mean, they have moments, where they're just irritable, but yeah, for the most part, they are each other's little besties, and they are very into crafting and most performance related art. So lots of singing and dancing and crafting. And so, yeah, they are right now. I don't think I have one around. They're usually sitting on my desk too, but they've been making like these 3D dragons and like animal masks, like multimedia. I don't even know. I don't like help them figure it out, but they have YouTube.
Yes.
And they learn how to make whatever it is they're working on. And my 10-year-old just got interested in like steampunk. So that looked like, and it's very craft oriented. I was like, I'm on board with this project. Like, can we get some hats and put the dials and stuff on them? So anyway, I'm looking forward to that.
I love seeing all the things that they are interested in. And to your point, like YouTube, my kids, like my youngest knows how to do makeup and hair. Like I never knew how to do.
That's cool. Yeah. We didn't have that. Right.
Yeah. No, we had trial and error, and it usually was error.
That's really cool. Yeah. They can do like these makeup artists. I mean, they could, the contouring.
Yeah.
Where there's this one guy on Pinterest, I think, and he's a male, but he can do contour makeup and look like any woman. It's
That's awesome.
Crazy. Like he has all these and he shows you how to do it. I'm just like, I do not.
It's
like,
amazing.
Cute, but it looks magical.
It is amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. I want to talk about, a couple of things that I saw, and I think we've talked a little bit about this too, but on your LinkedIn, you talk about a couple of books, The Go-Giver being one, and Think and Grow Rich, which is not Think and Grow Rich, but Think and Grow Rich by Pam Grout. Yeah. And what I liked about that is because it kind of embodies your personality, how you like to operate, going back to the culture piece and why you chose Best Version Media. Tell us a little bit about like your work philosophy and how those kind of play into it.
Yeah. So I have always been like a compulsive connector of people. So like, I'm always like, oh, you got to meet this person. Like, you guys a jive.
You and Jenny are the same. Oh my God.
I know. I love it.
So
it makes me so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Like, you're connecting people. Now they're going to have fun together. I'm all about fun. Like, I want more people to have more fun. So in this industry, what I didn't realize is it would really fill that bucket for me. So our magazines connect the neighbors together. So people connect with each other that way. And they also invite neighbors to events and, you know, all of the things. So we get a lot more neighborhood connection through it. But my sponsors, you know, it's my job, right, to help them grow their businesses. Yeah. So I always end up and I tell them in the beginning, like, you might have to tell me to calm down a little bit. Right. I'm just saying, I will be thinking about you and I will be connecting you with people, and I could overwhelm. So I'm fine with feedback. You can tell me, like, just give me a week to deal with the people you already sent me. Then we can continue.
Know your role, Meg. Yeah.
So like there's a kava bar here in Applewood. So kava is like a ancient tea alternative to alcohol kind of thing. And they have this whole community, and this is their second location. And a lot of the neighbors were coming in, and multiple people told Deanna, the owner, they were like, you need to call Meg because we can tell there's not a lot of people in here.
She'll get it going.
She publishes the neighborhood magazine, but she's also just going to connect you. So anyway, multiple people told her that. And I don't know who these people are because she didn't know them. They were just like strangers to her, and she didn't like write their names down, but she called me and was like, hey, there's a bunch of people coming in here. I just opened this business. Can you come talk to me about this magazine? And so she came on board, but now I'm emailing her all the time. I'm like, hey, here's this guy. He runs this program called Go Sober. I'm pretty sure that's a good connection. Here's this person. So yeah, it's a very just innate need for me to do that, to connect people. And so this is the perfect type of role because, I do a lot of networking and I host networking happy hours. And so I'm always just like trying to get people together. And so that's awesome. Kind of,
That's so important as like a small business, the connections that you get from meeting people like yourself and just being dialed into other local businesses. So specifically, I want to talk about the magazine. So as we know, everything is so digital these days. Is there actually like printed publications that you're still doing?
Yeah. So we have about 25 neighborhoods we work with in Greater Denver, but we're a national company. We're in every major market in the US and Canada. We have about 1,400 communities all in all, with local people like me, in those neighborhoods doing the publishing work. And I have a team that helps me. So we have writers and I have other nearby publishers. We kind of work as a team. So the magazines get printed and mailed every month to the neighborhood. And they always feature a resident or family on the cover who volunteers just to be the celebrity for the month. So we interview them, we tell their story, we do photos. It's really fun. And one of my neighbors, actually, I'm so excited about this. They're going to do like a Dia de los Muertos for October because they already do this every year. So I'm going to get a really cool October cover in Applewood. But yeah, we're in, a lot of the neighborhoods in Greater Denver, but definitely not all. So, if anyone's listening to this and wants to start something up in their neighborhood, by all means, I can connect you. And then I did take on a leadership role. So in addition to publishing, I was publishing 3 magazines, Applewood, Golden, and Wheat Ridge. But once I took on the leadership role, it was a bit too much. So I've got a couple people taking over Golden and Wheat Ridge. I'm going to stick with Applewood where I live. And then I also am a division leader in the company. The company is split into 30 divisions, and I have Colorado, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. So that's my area. So there's about 50 team members throughout those metro areas who I support just on a day-to-day basis. It's a great, company, and I get to participate in a lot of new tests. Oh, this is fun. We're launching. So there's this website, kitch.com. It's a food website, culinary. KITTCH.com. Okay. And we're launching a program where we will have a Kitch culinary section in the magazine. And then we'll have a city site on their page where we can feature local restaurants, chefs, mixologists, sommeliers, anybody food related. And those people will get to be creators on that page. So they'll be able to put videos and recipes and photos and any kind of content they want on that city page on kitsch.com. So it'll be really fun. And then we'll feature them in the publication too. But yeah, any food related businesses, like I've always wanted to have like a dining guide or, something like that.
But you get the creative outlet. So it's like community, creativity.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like growing up in the, 80s, pretty much magazines, I was obsessed. I had so many magazines. I kind of wish I didn't get rid of all of them, but it was all the teen magazines and 17 and Cosmo and all that stuff. And I would look forward to the day that they came every month. And so there's something too like tangible. And then having kids, I was like, God, I don't have time to keep up with them anymore. But now that my kids are older, I'm like, I really miss them.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, people like print, although, and I think people are aware of that now. There was a brief period of time where everybody thought everything would be digital. Yeah. But the real truth is people like tangible things and they like things about their neighborhood and about their community and they want to get off screens.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to
wonder if there'll be everything in print again. It's like if we can come up with paper that like people don't worry about,
Yeah. Well, there is that component of it. And I actually did an MBA in organizational sustainability long ago. And we do work with printers that are on the lighter end of things. But I also plant trees with the Arbor Day Foundation every month just to offset the pages that are being used for my publication. Yeah.
Cool.
And you'd be very surprised how many trees you can plant with them. So
that is so cool.
Yeah. And it was only a few trees a month, honestly, but I went above it because I was like, I mean, I can give you $75. Like I'm not, I just do 3 trees.
No, I love the print. I mean, myself, I went to school and I got a degree in journalism and that obviously has changed over the years. But for me, like I used to love, just like Jenny with magazines, I used to love getting the newspaper. Like I love getting the newspaper every morning, right? Like an actual act of sitting there and like going through the newspaper and like, it's just, I feel like the kids today, they're not missing it because they never experienced it. And I think that's the difference is like those of us who had that really appreciate it and get excited. Like, when we get those little hometown magazines, and newspapers, it's so fun, right?
It is. I even read the rec center guide.
Yes.
It's not even like news in it.
I do that too. Is that weird?
Like, I read anything local. I pick it up. I look at it, and our publications not only have that featured resident component, we also do like a local neighborhood event calendar. We feature local nonprofits. We, feature any content by the neighborhood. And so, content just comes to us because people are like, oh, I want to put this in the magazine. But I will say the younger generation, like my kids, they read voraciously. So they're just they're into this Wings of Fire series. And then there's another one like Fable Town or something. Anyway, they're reading paper books. Like they're not on devices.
My kids read paper books too.
Yeah. So I think they're definitely going to value handheld print media for a long time.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think some of them are getting tired of, even though their brain is still telling them to scroll, I think some of them are getting tired of it and more. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a swing back the other direction.
Yeah, it's just too much. Digital is like overwhelming and disruptive, and you don't gather the material and remember it like you do with print. Like it's very skippable. Yeah. And so that does eventually they lose interest.
Yeah, it's very like squirrel, right? That's why I like to read like actual books because like if I'm reading anything online, I'm totally distracted. I'll get a notification. I'll see, like I can't like focus. But if I have something in my hands and all the technology's off, I'm like, oh, I'm reading the words. Like
I love it. Yeah, it's just so much, I don't know, of a better experience. And we work a lot on the computer. And our kids are on the computer at school. And so it's a nice point in the day when I can have that relief experience where I close the laptop.
Yeah, great.
And I can turn the phone off and I don't have to like deal with another screen for a while. And so
I love the smell of books. The smell of books. Yeah. Like it's nostalgic for me. We went into Target this weekend. It's a scent related story. We went into Target this weekend and we were walking through the swimsuit aisle and I was like, stop. And I took a breath and I go, do you smell that? And my daughter's like, what is happening? I'm like, it smells like swimsuit. She's like, yeah, we're in the swimsuit aisle. And I was like, I know, but it reminds me of when you were little and you're like, Mom, I need swimsuits for summer camp. And, it's just like, it takes you back in time.
Yeah,
totally does. So Meg, we only have a few more minutes, but I want to ask some questions that I always are my favorite. And that's, what are you most proud of? And, what are you looking forward to?
Oh, good ones. I mean, I think I'm most proud of my kiddos. Like, they are just the most, you feel that way as a mom, like they're just the most magical people you've ever met. But my two, the thing that always surprises me is yesterday I was on a call and the principal called, the school called. I know it was her, but my daughter had been sick earlier in the week. So I thought, I might have to go get her. So I put the, Zoom on hold and answered the phone. And she was like, do you have a minute? It's Mrs. Barker. And I was like, yeah, is Delaney okay? Like, I was in a meeting, but I put it on hold because I know she was sick. So I figured, it was the nurse. And she was like, no, but I'll let her know why I'm calling. And then I was like, oh, she's in trouble.
Right.
But they do this positive office referral where if a child does something good, they get sent to Mrs. Barker and they call the parent and tell them. And so it was a positive office referral. And the reason she got it is it's my older one, and the little one gets this feedback too, but she's always helping other kids in the classroom and just, helping them not feel frustrated over a project or this or that, and trying to help them along and just be supportive. And related to that, I've been stopped in the hallway multiple times by people I don't know at the school, other parents for both kids, where they say, I just need to tell you that your daughter Delaney or your daughter Brynja is just the most positive thing to my kid. Like, they make them feel better when they're sad, or they did this little art project for them to make them feel better or whatever. And the coolest part is I don't know anything about any of this.
Yeah.
It's like, girls don't tell me. No. They're not trying to get credit or whatever, but they're just going out there and they're just trying to make people happy. And so great. I couldn't be prouder of them. That's just the coolest thing to hear,
Not fall far from the tree.
Yeah. Right.
I want people to have fun and, it's really just great to hear that. And for both, to hear it on both sides is just so fun. Like, one of the moms was a room parent, and the older one, she was like, I got to tell you, your child is the only one that says hi to me out of the whole class, like all year long. And not only does she say hi, she comes over and she's like, how are you? Like, what's going on with you?
That's going to take her far in life. I mean,
that's so cute, right? And these aren't things I tell them to do. I'm not like coaching them. I mean, I say things like be the light, but I don't like say specifically how to do it.
They see you. Like Jenny said, they see you and the interactions you have. And they're like, my mom makes people happy and I want to make people happy. And I want to, make them smile. So that is so rewarding.
Yeah.
And then what are you looking forward to?
Well, I think at work, we're doing a lot of really neat things like this Kitsch program with the culinary. And so it's been a very fun way to just expand, because you do the same magazine for like 4 years. Well, actually, I guess we're going on 6. You're like, it's the same type of content, and so it's nice to have these different channels that we're playing with. And we also do geo-targeted digital for our sponsors, and we help them with SEO. So there's other components to really promoting them to the same neighborhood across multiple channels. So we're always developing new things, and so that's been really fun. And the girls are older, so like I have a lot more like travel bucket list type of things because they pull their own suitcases now. So
yes, that's true.
That's kind of a big thing for us. We're going to Hawaii this summer. So that'll be really nice. And then I hope one day, we have relatives in Norway who come here a lot, but I haven't taken the girls yet. And I've been over there, but I want to take them maybe next summer. I think they'll be old enough to go on a big trip like that and meet all their cousins. So I think that would be really fun. So looking forward to travel and just, continuing to support the local business community with more affordable options to create engagement with the neighborhoods that are important to their business growth. And so, just having, all those tools to help people is exciting, and it continues to grow.
Well, on behalf of a local business, I thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if local businesses want to get in touch with you, give them all the information that they need to reach out if they're interested.
Yeah. So I created a new website recently. You can go to locallegend.media because we're trying to turn everybody into a local legend. So that's just my own personal site, and you can connect with me through that site. My email is msmit, S-M-I-T, at bestversionmedia.com. And if you want to look at the Best Version Media products overall, that website is great to go to, bestversionmedia.com. We also have Facebook pages for Applewood Living and Golden Living. That one has a Colorado at the end, Golden Living Colorado, and Wheat Ridge Living. So you can visit any of those and, get updated on content, sign up. We do a monthly newsletter if you want to stay in touch. But yeah, those are kind of the best ways to get in touch with me. And I'm happy to help, feature anyone and everyone in the community and, connect people together. And you can get hold of us through our happy hours too. So if you sign up for our newsletter on the website, then you can join us and meet me in person.
Love it.
I love it. Well, Meg, thank you so much. I mean, you are such a joy to talk to. I mean, you just light up. I mean, we're in the virtual world, but I mean, your smile and your energy is contagious, and I'm sure all the people that you meet and work with love it. So we'll definitely, really tell all our friends about the services you offer. And so lovely having you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy hour so we can actually see it in person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll send you the next one. I've got a link.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, gals.